The Gospel of Luke, chapter 12. Today I want to invite you on a journey through one of the most powerful chapters in the New Testament. The Gospel of Luke, chapter 12. Imagine for a moment that you can unlock wisdom that speaks directly to your greatest fears, your deepest needs, and the truest meaning of life. In this chapter, Jesus offers guidance on how to live a life that transcends the temporary, focusing on what really matters. His words call us to move beyond worry, to live with purpose, and to trust in something greater than ourselves. As we explore these teachings, let us open our hearts and consider how they can transform the way we think, act, and live every day. Do not fear. Now, Jesus begins by addressing one of the most universal human experiences, fear. He says, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot afterward do anything else. I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after killing the body, has the power to throw you into hell." Now, Jesus' message is not one of dread, but of freedom. He reminds us that our true value is not tied to the opinions of others or the temporary trials we face. Instead, it's held securely in the hands of God. Now, he continues by reassuring us of our immense value. "Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies, he states? Yet not one of them is forgotten by God. Indeed, the very hairs on your head are all numbered. Don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows." And Jesus is using these everyday examples to illustrate how deeply God knows and cares for us. If God is attentive to the smallest details of creation, how much more does he care for you and me? This teaching calls us to place our trust in God, knowing that his love for us is immeasurable. Confessing Christ before others. Now, later in this passage, Jesus encourages us to openly declare our faith. He promises that whoever acknowledges him before others will also be acknowledged before the angels of God. Now, this is a call to courage and authenticity in our faith journey. You see, it's not about grand gestures, but about a willingness to be real in a world that often values appearances over truth. Now, Jesus also promises that in times of trial, the Holy Spirit will guide us. He says, "When you are brought before synagogues, rulers, and authorities, do not worry about how you will defend yourself or what you will say. The Holy Spirit will teach you at that time what you should say." This is a powerful reminder that we are never alone in our struggles. God equips us with wisdom and words when we need them most. Our role is to stand firm in faith, trusting that God will give us what we need when the time comes. The parable of the rich fool. Jesus then tells the story of a rich man who had a great harvest and decided to store up his wealth, thinking he could live in comfort for years to come. But God says to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" This parable challenges our society's obsession with material success and the pursuit of wealth. Now, the key lesson there is that life is unpredictable, and true wealth is found in being rich toward God. You see, this means valuing what God values: love, kindness, generosity, and faithfulness over earthly possessions. Jesus is calling us to consider what we are truly investing in. Are we building barns for our own comfort, or are we storing up treasures in heaven by loving others and living a life that reflects God's goodness. Do not worry. Jesus goes on to deliver one of the most comforting messages in the Bible. Do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. Life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. He points to the ravens that do not sow or reap, yet God feeds them, and the lilies that are beautifully clothed without any effort. The essence of this teaching is trust. Trust that God will provide for our needs. Worry is a thief that steals our peace and distracts us from living a life of faith. Jesus urges us to focus on seeking God's kingdom first, and all the other things will be added to us. This is not just a call to put spiritual things above material concerns. It's a promise that when we prioritize God, everything else falls into its rightful place. Be watchful and ready. Jesus tells his followers to be dressed ready for service and keep your lamps burning. He uses the metaphor of servants waiting for their master to illustrate the importance of living with purpose and readiness. This teaching speaks to living each moment with intentionality, knowing that our time is valuable. He then adds that those who are faithful with little will be entrusted with much more. The lesson here is about being a good steward of what life and opportunities we've been given. You see, whether in our relationships, our work, or our service to others, we are called to live in a way that honors God, always prepared for whatever may come. Jesus brings division, not peace. Now, Jesus' statement that he came not to bring peace but division might seem puzzling at first. He explains that following him may cause conflicts even within families. The truth is, the message of Jesus is radical. It changes traditions, beliefs, and the status quo. It also calls us to make choices that are not always popular, but are always rooted in truth and love. This teaching reminds us that living out our faith may not always be comfortable, but it will always be transformative. Understanding the times. Jesus concludes by urging the crowd to read the signs of the times, much like they interpret the weather. He warns against spiritual blindness and calls people to discern the reality of God's work around them. This is a call to wake up, to be aware, and to act wisely. We are reminded that reconciliation and making peace with others are vital, as our actions today shape our eternity. So, as we close, let's carry these lessons from the Gospel of Luke chapter 12 in our hearts. Let's strive to live without fear, knowing that our value is in God's love and care. Let's be bold in our faith, live generously, and let go of worries that weigh us down. May we be watchful and ready, living each day with purpose and passion. Let's not be afraid to stand for the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And let's always seek to understand the times we live in, making the most of every opportunity to love and serve. Remember, life is not measured by what we accumulate, but by the impact we make. So let's focus on the things that last, things like love, faith, kindness, and generosity. And as you walk away today, let these words echo in your heart. Seek first his kingdom, and all these things will be given to you as well. May this truth guide you, uplift you, and lead you to a life of purpose and eternal impact. Thank you, friends. May God's grace go with you, and as you live out these powerful lessons from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, may you have a beautiful day. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll discuss chapter 13. Take care.